Tim. Thanks. This should take care of you.
Detective Pikachu is a story-driven adventure mystery game for the Nintendo 3DS. Unlike the anime where things are fairly happy-go-lucky, you are not a trainer, and the story deals with various crimes that you probably wouldn't see in a happy cartoon. Oh, also, Pikachu is grumpy and addicted to coffee in this one. Let's talk about the story. The story begins with the protagonist, Tim Goodman, as he travels to his hometown of Rhyme City in search of his missing father. Upon entering the city, Tim runs into his father's partner, Pikachu, whom he learns he can communicate with. The two hit it off immediately as they jump into a series of smaller mysteries that they are able to solve while also looking for Tim's father. Along the way, the duo also stumbles across multiple instances of rampaging Pokemon that seem to be related to his father's disappearance. Talking with Pokemon is intriguing, not only to learn clues about the current mystery you're trying to solve, but also to discover their relationships with humans and other Pokemon. And I love that because that's never really been explored in a game before. There's plenty of good and funny moments, but overall, I feel that there's a lot of build-up to the plot with not a whole lot of payoff, and the game ends with kind of a lame cliffhanger. Overall, playing this game left me with a positive experience, despite a few annoying nitpicks, and I rate the story to be a 3 out of 5. So let's talk about the gameplay. Very similar to Telltale's adventure point-and-click style of games, like The Walking Dead, Detective Pikachu will have you explore smaller, compact areas looking for clues, people, and Pokemon to talk to. Oftentimes, the solution is honestly pretty obvious, but the game is very hand-holdy and slow, and I felt that oftentimes I knew exactly what I needed to do or exactly what the issue is, but the game just wouldn't let me solve the problem. I had to work it out. It even won't let you pick up crucial evidence or talk to a certain NPC that you know are there until the game wants you to know that they are there. And for me, that's kind of annoying. Interviewing NPCs is often a grind, though finishing a mystery is always satisfying. There's also a few quick-time events in there which are kind of fun. Rhyme City is big and beautiful. It looks really great, but unfortunately it feels pretty closed off as we're only allowed to explore small sections at a time. And that's a real bummer. I'd really want to see a full-fledged city exploration like what we have with Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild in a Pokemon game. Maybe for Sword and Shield. Overall, I rate the gameplay to be a 3 out of 5. Now, the music and sound design for Detective Pikachu is great. Vocal work is super solid, and there's actually a lot of cutscenes and smaller character moments that are narrated. The music I find to be very simple, but punctual and refreshing, especially compared to the music from the Pokemon RPGs. The cries of the Pokemon when talking to them are on par as well. And here are some of my favorites. I rate the music and sound design a 5 out of 5. As far as the graphics are concerned, the city looks great, but like I mentioned earlier, it's fairly closed off. There's a lot more detail than a typical Pokemon RPG, which is to be expected, since we need to look for those little details to find clues and in order to progress in the story. There's also loads of cutscenes, which are just really good. They look good, they sound good, though because it's a Pokemon game, things are still pretty simple. Overall, though, I rate the graphics to be a 4 out of 5. And that leads us to the GUI and the extras. The menu is super simple and very clean. It's really easy to navigate. Although, sometimes some cases can get a little overwhelming with all the evidence that you find. Luckily, there's a dedicated Detective Pikachu button on the touchscreen that you can tap at any time for clues if you get stuck or if you lost track of what you're supposed to do. Touching this Detective Pikachu button also can trigger special little cutscenes and silly moments that are all fully voiced between you and Detective Pikachu. Overall, I rate the GUI and the extras a 4 out of 5. So to wrap it up, the good stuff is, well, the unique story and circumstances are very refreshing for a Pokemon game. And the story is greatly complemented by fantastic music, vocal work, and cutscenes. Some of the bad stuff include, at least for me, that it's pretty easy. It's really slow and hand-holding, especially in the beginning of the game. And unfortunately, at the end, there's just not a very good payoff. I mean, it's fine. I was expecting a little more, I guess. Overall, Detective Pikachu is a solid Pokemon experience. I rate Detective Pikachu a 3 out of 5. Thanks for watching.